they had told me just like escort prisoners, put them on the wall, take them around the corner, whatever, grab the next one, grab the next one. Well, I got to Michael Myers and I'm like, what do I do? And the camera got like right here, so close, like I felt like in my face. And I'm like, oh my God. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So obviously this is a horror gaming channel, but I thought it would be kind of cool and interesting to take a break from the games just for today and tell about an experience that I had several years ago when I was actually in the Halloween movie from 2018. So in 2017, I think maybe around summertime, something like that, I found a news article from the Charleston, South Carolina area that a casting company was looking for submissions for an upcoming movie that was going to be filming in Charleston in the winter or springtime of 2018. Now, it didn't name the movie, but I'd already heard rumors circulating that they were making a new Halloween movie, possibly, and that it might be filmed somewhere in South Carolina. So I saw that article and I immediately put two and two together and I knew this is the new Halloween movie and I have to be a part of it. If I have any chance of doing this, I have to go. I mean, even if you don't see me on camera, whatever, I just want to be there because I love Halloween. Michael Myers has always been my favorite slasher, icon. So I had to be a part of it. And specifically in the article, they had listed a couple of different types of people that they may be searching for down the line when they start the casting process. Because typically when they're casting extras for like police officers or doctors or nurses or something like that, they want people who actually have that experience because it's just really easy to kind of slip into that role. So one of the things that they mentioned was they wanted people with actual law enforcement experience. Now, this is not something that I have ever talked about on the channel, but at the time I was a police officer and I was actually a police officer for like 10 and a half years, something like that. And they said actual police officers, law enforcement experience. I'm like, holy shit, that's me. I could actually do this. So I got super excited. I sent in all my information. Of course, I didn't expect to hear anything back. I'm like, why would they pick me? There's going to be tons of people that put in for this. Why would they pick me? And I didn't hear anything for several months. Come January 2018, I randomly get an email from the casting company that said, hey, we want to book you on this date to film. Are you available? And I'm like, hell yeah, I am. Like, obviously I'm there. Tell me what I need to do. Wherever I need to go. I don't care how far I have to drive, how early I have to be there, whatever. It doesn't matter. Just tell me what I need to do. So basically they email me back and forth some information or whatever, kind of telling me what to expect and what I needed to do and all that stuff to prepare and like what to bring, what not to bring, all that stuff. So the day before I was set to film, they emailed me and said, hey, take a picture in front of like a blank white wall, no smile, just a blank face, and send us the picture so we can make you an ID. You're going to be playing a prison guard, so we need to make you a prison guard ID. So I was like, okay, this is really cool. Like, it felt like real at this point. Like they had already told me, you're booked, you're coming. When they said that, I'm like, holy shit, like I'm actually talking to somebody like on the other end of this that's like a part of this movie and they're making a prop like personalized for me. That's really, really cool. I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. So I sent them a picture and then later that night, so the night before we were set to film, they sent me the call time. So I've found out since then, because I've done a couple of extra things. I'll talk about that briefly at the end of this video. But I found out since then that that's typically how it works. It's very hush-hush, very secret until it's very last minute is what I'm trying to say. So they sent me my call time for the next morning at like, I don't know, 10 or 11 the night before. They said, hey, you got to be at this location at 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, all right, no problem. So I don't know if I could actually like get in any kind of trouble if the wrong person saw this video. So I'm not going to name where we were actually set to film on the day that I was going. But I will say it was at an actual active prison in South Carolina, near North Charleston, South Carolina. The day of filming, I show up that morning and of course I'm going to like an actual prison. So I can't just go into the property. So I'm getting close to where we're going. It's like on these back roads, kind of out in the middle of nowhere. And I start seeing signs like, crew this way, production cast, whatever, this way. And so they have us all set up in this big like field, maybe a mile down the road from the prison. So they're directing traffic and everything. And when I get there, there's tons of people. There are people everywhere, like extras, there's crews, there's tents set up, there's like wardrobe trailers, bathroom trailers. There's the whole, like, there's so much stuff like set up. And anyway, I get there and I go to one of the tents or whatever. I check in, they give me some information. They're like, hey, go see so-and-so at wardrobe for your uniform. I know I had briefly mentioned earlier they were talking a little bit about what to bring, what not to bring. Well, one of the things that they told me to bring was my duty belt, of course, with like everything stripped off of it, and my police boots that I wore. But the uniform was going to be made to my size. So I go to the wardrobe trailer, they give me the uniform, and that's when I see it. I see the patch, and it says Smiths Grove Penitentiary or institution or something like that on it. And I'm like, it's Halloween. I still, before that point, was not 100% sure because they still didn't tell me. Even when they booked me, they still didn't tell me what movie it was. They were operating under the code name Uncle Orange. And then I see Smiths Grove, like the patch on the uniform sleeve. I'm like, this is Halloween. I'm going to be in a Halloween movie. Like I was giddy. Like I had never, if you're watching this and like you're an actor or actress or whatever, or you've done this stuff before, it may not be a big deal to you, but to me, it was a big deal. Like I was like, I cannot believe I'm about to possibly be in a Halloween movie. This is crazy. Eventually they wrangle everybody up and they load us into these buses and they drive us down to the prison. So when we get to the prison, again, as I've already mentioned a couple times, this was an active prison. So we couldn't just stroll in there. We had to get off the bus. We had to go through like the security check, and we all got searched and patted down and all that good stuff. And then they finally let us in. So when we get in to where we're going to film, we're all stationed like outside. So there's the big courtyard area where like prisoners are. Their prisoners are just roaming around in this huge courtyard area. And then there's like a little road where officers were driving golf carts around and stuff like that. And just right here on the other side of the road is where we were set up. So the prisoners are like 50 feet, 100 feet from us right there. So, I mean, if they wanted to just pop off and come over there and harass us or bother us or whatever, they could have. I mean, there's guards around, but there was no like physical security between us and them. But anyway, we're over there and there's a building that they tell us we're going to be filming in, and it's like the old, I guess, unused prison, like, or jail house or whatever. You go in and there's like this reception area, and then it's just one long hallway with a bunch of cells. So they tell us that's where we're going to be filming. So just hang out outside until, you know, a assistant director or whoever comes and gets you to film something. So basically, up until now, the way this has worked is I get there, I go check in, I go to wardrobe, I get my uniform, I get on the bus, I go get searched, I get, you know, onto the prison grounds, get my props. They loaded up my duty belt and gave me my name tag and all that. The tag that they made for me, they finally give it to me once I'm like in the prison, and there's my picture. The picture that I emailed them, it's right there, and I have a name. They gave me like an actual, you know, like a prison, like an officer name or whatever, and it says Smiths Grove Institution or Smiths Grove Prison or whatever. And I'm like, this is so cool. Again, I already seen it on the patch, but I was like, there it is again. And I got my own name tag in a movie. Like, this is so cool. So anyway, like I said, the way it's worked up until now is hurry, go. Once you get to that point and you're all set, it's like it all stops. Now it's hurry up and wait. There's a lot of people there doing a whole lot of stuff, but we're not part of that. So the extras were kind of put over to the side in this tent, and like, y'all just hang out here. Y'all can come out and wander around and, you know, look at the set, but don't come into the building because we're filming in there. Don't be loud because you might interfere with the microphones and all that stuff. But just, you can walk around a little bit if you want to and check things out. They had some like snacks and drinks and stuff set up for us. But other than that, it was hurry up and wait. How long I waited is the crazy part. So I got there at 9. I was probably at the prison by 10, and I didn't film a scene until like 10 o'clock that night. So 12 hours of sitting and waiting. Basically how this would work is we're all sitting in there. There's other prison guards. There's like a nurse that was working at the prison. There's patients. Because this is actually meant to be, in the movie, a mental institution. So there were patients, like mental patients there as extras, and some other people. And we saw I'll talk about it because I'm going to actually show some scenes, but I saw the actor and the actress, the journalists that go into the institute to do the report or whatever on Michael at the beginning, and the doctor. I forgot his character's name, but the doctor, the older guy, I saw them walking around on set and stuff. So that was pretty cool. It's like, hey, they look, I didn't know who they were. I didn't recognize them at that point, but I was like, they look important. They had their own chairs and everything, outside the building. So I'm like, okay, those are the actual actors over there. But anyway, we're hanging out. The way it would work is every now and then somebody would come out and go to the extras and say, you, come with me. And they'd go into the building and film something. I didn't get that until 10 o'clock. So we're just sitting there all day. So the coolness kind of wore off after a little while. It's like, all right, this is still cool. I'm here. But if I don't do something, I'm going to be pretty pissed. Like if I'm not lying. The cool thing is that no matter if you're in the movie, if you film anything, for being there, you get paid. It's not much. It comes out to like usually $10 or $12 an hour. So it's barely anything, but you get a little bit of money. Yeah, whatever. But I wanted to be in it. I wanted to film something. Even if my scene got cut, you couldn't see me in the movie, whatever. I wanted to be a part of it because I wanted to see how it all worked, how it all came together, and say that I wanted to be able to say that I was in a Halloween movie. 10 o'clock or so that night rolls around, and I'm sitting in the tent, freezing my ass off. Again, it's January. South Carolina doesn't get super cold, but after sitting outside all day long doing nothing, I was cold. So finally, the guy came out, you, and he pointed to me finally. I'm like, oh my God, let's go. Please, I'll film anything. Let's just go. Take me inside because I bet it's warm in there. So he takes me in the building, and that's where I get to shoot a couple of scenes inside there in the jail with some prisoners. So what I want to do now is go through the scenes that I filmed in the movie and point myself out. And I'm also going to explain a couple of things here at the very beginning of the movie because it opens up actually where we were filming that day. So the very first scenes of the movie were where we were that day, and then it kind of changes to a completely different location it was a different day, different location. Of course, movie magic makes it look like the same place, but it wasn't. So I want to point that out, and then I'll get into the scenes that I filmed in. All right, so this is the opening scene of the movie, of course, with the two journalists come in to do their investigation about Michael Myers. This is the main entrance of the building that we filmed at. And like I said, you go in through there, there's a reception area, then you go straight down the hall, and it's just a long row of prison cells. And I think there's a shot of right here. So here's the reception area. There's a few extras in here that were there that day. And Sartain, Dr. Sartain, I think is his name. And then movie magic, it cuts to this courtyard. They're walking outside. It cuts to this courtyard. Now, this courtyard is not where we were. This is a completely separate day, completely separate location. So I wasn't a part of this day. I don't really have any information about this place at all. I wasn't there for that. So now we're about 21 minutes into the movie, and the journalists obviously have left the institute, and Michael is set to be transported, and that's where my scenes come in. Right about here.
My suggestion is termination. Death is...
So this is back in the building, long hallway. They're doing their thing down here. They're escorting prisoners, and right here. That is me right here. That's me. And this is a prisoner. This long-haired dude right here is a prisoner that I am escorting. So this is the first scene that I shot. I came into the building, and they said, all right, what's going to happen is when we call action, they're going to be down there. There's going to be something going on down the hallway, a commotion or whatever. They're going to be doing their thing. Don't pay attention to them. Here's your prisoner. They gave me this, or they paired me up with this this guy here, and they said, he's your prisoner, just escort him down the hallway. And when he gets about halfway down the hall, push him up against the wall, and he's gonna like struggle with you, and you're just gonna have to like pretend like you're holding him up against the wall. Don't hurt him or whatever, but try to make it look realistic. So the guy that I was escorting, he was really cool. He's like, dude, throw me up against the wall, make it look real. And I'm like, all right, I'm probably not gonna do that, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, it doesn't really matter what I did because the scene cuts right here, and you can't see us anymore anyway. But while they're opening the door, I'm pushing the guy up against the wall, and he's struggling and pulling away, and fuck you. We had fun with it. It was a lot of fun. So we shot that scene a few times. Same thing over and over. Walk into the middle of the hall, push him up against the wall. Walk into the hall, push him against the wall. Over and over. 5, 6 times, something like that. And then the next scene I shot was actually right here. It was literally the next scene. This right here is me. So you can see me escorting a prisoner right here. And I'll explain this here in a minute. So there I am, just walking a prisoner. Now this was cool because what happened here is basically they lined up you can see all the prisoners lined up on the wall right here. Basically what they were doing is they had me and this guy right here, and this is another guard right here. So I guess there was 3 of us, maybe more, I don't remember. But we were basically alternating. So they said, take a prisoner and walk them down like here. If you go around the corner, there's a door leading like to the reception area or like the foyer or whatever outside the reception area, kind of leading to the exit. But it was one of those big like steel doors that they have to activate to unlock or lock or whatever, or to open and close. And so they said basically like walk them down here and kind of just stack them up over here or over on the wall. I think it was over on the wall. I can't remember. I think it was over on the wall. Stack them up against the wall, come back, grab the next prisoner. Whatever the next prisoner is in line, just grab them and move them over. So we did that scene a few times. And so it was random every time, like which prisoner you got, it just, whatever, or it didn't really matter. Whenever they shot the scene, whatever order you started in, whatever prisoner you ended up escorting, that's just what it was. Well, the last time we shot the scene, I was escorting prisoners, putting them on the wall, whatever, taking them around the corner, whatever they told me to do. And I turn around and I go to grab my last prisoner, and it's James Jude Courtney, of course, who plays Michael Myers. And I saw him, and I kind of hesitated for like a split second. And then I was like, oh, we're still, nobody called cut yet, so I still have to keep doing stuff. So anyway, I just grab him, and I escort him down, and I take him to down the hall right here where that door is. And they didn't tell me what to do. They had told me just like escort prisoners, put them on the wall, take them around the corner, whatever, grab the next one. Well, I got to Michael Myers, and I'm like, what do I do? Like, nobody told me. So I'm just walking him down the hall, and I'm like, oh God, somebody's gonna yell at me. They're gonna call cut. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Anyway, they didn't. Nobody ever did. I could see out of the corner of my eye, like the camera, it was following me. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm doing the right thing. So I just kept on walking him down the hall, and I'll get to the door, and the door's closed. So I'm like, well, I don't know what to do now. So I just stop at the door, and I just like, I'm holding one hand on like down near the handcuffs or whatever, and I'm like gripping the back of his shirt, and I just stand there. I'm like, they haven't called cut yet. I don't know what to do. So I'm just going to stand here like an idiot, and somebody's going to yell at me eventually. Well, anyway, the camera like just kept coming, and the camera got like right here, so close, like I felt like in my face, and I'm like, oh my God, if they got me, like that's going to be a close up of me. This is crazy. And then they panned over to him. I'm like, holy crap. I was like, this could be really, really cool. But part of that shot is in the movie. So let me get to it here. If you blink, you miss it. Oh, yep, I almost missed it. So right here is, that's my hand. This is my hand. So when I walked him down to the end of the hall, and I'm holding him, like I said, the camera just comes and follows us, and nobody says anything. So I just stand there and I just look menacingly at Michael Myers. Like I know everything he's done, and I hate him. So I just stare at him, and then they pan over to him,
I'll be with you.
And that's it. They call cut like right after that. But that's my hand right there, holding on to Michael Myers. It's pretty cool. And then I am in one last scene in this. So we go to the scene where they are loading all the prisoners up to transport them. And of course, Michael's going to be part of it. And we all actually hold up in this corner. So I'm not in this scene. I'm not anywhere right here. I'm actually hiding back here. And now that I'm seeing this fellow right here, I'm pretty sure is not supposed to be there. I think this is the guy that was like towards the end, or, at this point, wrangling all the extras, telling us what to do. I don't know if that'd be like the assistant director or the second assistant director or the assistant to the regional manager. I'm not quite sure, but we were all hanging out back here. If you weren't in the scene, you're just kind of supposed to get out of the way, which I guess he didn't. But anyway, they're loading up all the prisoners and, of course, Michael. And then my big scene here.
I'll be by your side.
Can hear the sarcasm. Right there. Right there. That's me. So here they said, hey, the bus is going to drive, the gate's going to open, the bus is going to drive by you. Just stand there and watch it leave. That's it. And now this obviously is shot like Jamie Lee Curtis is sitting here watching that bus leave. She's not. She's not there that day. She wasn't there. I didn't see her walking around. She was not on set. We were told Jamie Lee Curtis is not here. They filmed this to make it look like, I think there's a shot right here where you actually see the outside of the car. Yeah, right there. And obviously it looks like she's sitting there watching the bus leave. She's not. She wasn't there. I didn't get to meet her. Unfortunately, it would have been really, really cool to meet Jamie Lee Curtis. But even if she was there, that's not what you're there to do. Like, they make it very clear, and I never would. I would never like impose or go out of the way or whatever to bother anybody. But they make it very clear when you're an extra, you're not here to get autographs. You're not here to try to take selfies with the actors. You're here to work. You're being paid to be here, and this is a professional setting, and the actors are here to work. They're not here to be bothered. So, like, if you can't respect that, then we will make you leave. And they're not joking around with that. Like, they will make you leave. All right, that's it for all the scenes that I was in Halloween 2018. So total time, I was there from about 8:30, because I got there a little early. So about 8:30 in the morning to 1 o'clock the next morning. So 16 and a half hours, something like that. And I didn't mind. By the time I left at 1 o'clock that morning, I was really, really tired, mostly from just sitting around waiting. Just hurry up and wait. It was hours and hours and hours of just sitting around, being cold, because once the sun went down, it got cold real quick. We were just sitting there not doing anything. And they had like a tent. I already said we were sitting in a tent, and they had like one little space heater for all of us to kind of huddle around and try to get warm. So we were all freezing our asses off. But I loved it. Like, looking back now, I loved every second of it. In the moment, I didn't. But looking back now, remembering it, I did. I loved every second of it. All right, guys, that's going to be it for my experience with the Halloween 2018 film. But I will say that since then, I've had several opportunities to film with other TV shows. And it's been kind of fun. I haven't filmed with anything in a while now. I've tried to book some other stuff, but it's always fallen through with my schedule or, just not being picked or whatever. That happens quite a bit. But I have filmed a few episodes for a show called Welcome to Flatch, which it had 2 seasons. I think it's canceled now. But if you've never seen that, that is like a mockumentary comedy type show, similar to like Parks and Recreation or The Office. Not nearly as good as either one of those, even though I filmed on it. I don't think it's anywhere near as good as those, but it was still a fun experience. Sean William Scott is one of the main characters in that show. Stifler from American Pie. Everybody knows Stifler from American Pie, but Sean William Scott is a really, really nice dude. It was cool to kind of work around him, and I didn't get to talk to him much, but I very, very briefly got to meet him and just kind of see how he interacts with everybody else on set, the crew and the extras and the other actors and actresses and stuff. And he's a really, really chill, nice guy. So that was a fun experience. I was in, I think I've already said, 3 episodes in that show. I was in season 2, episode 3, 10, and 12. I'm actually in the thumbnail of season 2, episode 3. It's called Mana Flatch Destiny, I think. And then in episode 10, I actually got to take my daughter to film with me. That was kind of cool. We went to a gem mining thing where, you scoop up the water with all the dirt and then you kind of sift through or shake it through and it falls through the cracks, whatever, and you're left with like some gems and rocks and stuff like that. We're in the, I think it's the opening scene of that episode. So that's kind of cool that we both got to be in that episode. And then episode 12 was fun because it was like this big fall festival, like harvest fest kind of thing on this big like horse farm type area. And there's an axe throwing contest that I'm in the background of. There's an indoor scene where I think Jamie Presley is doing a scene, and I'm kind of walking around in the background. You can see me a couple of times. That's kind of cool. And then I filmed one day on The Summer I Turned Pretty, which is like teenage romance drama, whatever show on Amazon Prime. We filmed at a party city in Wilmington, North Carolina one day. And my big scene is I'm shopping for party bags in the background on an aisle, just kind of walking around while 2 of the main characters are having a conversation in the aisle ahead of me. You can barely see me, faded off in the background. And then I did work one day on the Righteous Gemstones, which that day was really, really fun, but that scene never made it to the show. So I was never able to find myself there. But basically that scene was, I was a roadie and I was like unloading a tour bus and taking it into the building for like a church service or whatever. No Danny McBride or John Goodman. I didn't even see those guys walking around. I'm sure they were there somewhere, but I didn't see any of them. Where our scene was kind of like out back at the back of the building, so I guess it really wouldn't have made sense for them to be there. I think it was more of like a B-roll shot that they just ended up not using. But that's it that I've worked on, unless I'm forgetting something. I don't think I am, but there's been plenty of things that I've tried to be a part of, and it's like I've said, it's just falling through, just not getting booked, not getting picked, or there's been times where they've asked me to film. Like once you're, kind of the way it works is once you're established with a casting company, they'll email you from time to time and say, hey, we've got this date coming up. We're looking for this experience or whatever. Are you available? And like, almost every time they've emailed me, I've had to turn them down. I wasn't able to work it out, but I'd love to do something else. But anyway, I know this video is probably ended up being pretty long-winded, but I thought it was pretty interesting. I think it's an interesting experience. If you've never been a part of a movie or anything, I think it's cool to kind of see how it all works or like hear about how it works and, the whole process of getting to do it and what it's actually like being there. It's not as glamorous as it may seem, I guess, but it's still a lot of fun, especially when you get to work on Halloween, like the most iconic scary movies, horror movie series. I can't even talk. The horror movie franchise, like of all time, with one of the greatest villains of all time. So anyway, guys, that is going to do it. Appreciate you hanging out with me and listening to my story about being in the Halloween movie. And I will see you in the next video for probably Tormented Souls 2. All right, see you there.